So welcome to today's class. We did on accounting for agriculture. That was from our previous class. So today when we talk of the accounting for provisional firms. Accounting for provisional firms. There is just on the advocate's account. There is a financial reporting and analysis. We do accounting for provisional funds. Accounting for provisional funds. Now, on accounting for provisional funds, what we just talk of here is on what we call the advocates. Advocates. How the law firms are required to maintain their accounts. So, the law firms, how they supposed to maintain their records. Now, when we talk of the law firms, they provide what we call legal services to their client. At a consideration, we call the fee income. Generally, the fee income in this case is what we talk of them as their revenues. So, here we talk of them are acting under what we call the principle of what we call the fiduciary duty. That is generally on what we call the trustee duty. So begin by saying, on advocates, you can say they are firms which offers legal services to their clients. They are firms which offer legal services to their clients. There are firms which offer legal services to their client at a consideration known as fee income. At a consideration known as fee income. At a consideration known as fee income. See? They operate under the principle of fiduciary duty. They operate under principle of fiduciary duty. Fiduciary duty, that is the trustee duty. Fiduciary duty, that is the trustee duty. See, they are instructed and entrusted with clients' resources. They are entrusted with the client's resources, and therefore trusted with the client resources, and therefore they cannot withdraw clients' money. Therefore, they cannot withdraw clients' money without their permission or unless authorized. Unless authorized. You also write and say they are only authorized. They are only authorized to withdraw in the following circumstances. In the following circumstances, one is when remitting cash to the client. When remitting cash to the client. When remitting cash to the client. Number two, when receiving provisional fees under client's authority. When receiving provisional fees under client authority. Under the client's authority. And number three, when settling bills. When settling bills with client's authority. When settling bills with the client's authority. Now let's talk of accounts prepared by provisional firms. Account prepared by provisional firms. Accounts prepared by provisional firms. Number one is the cash and bank account. The cash and bank account. Number two is the debtors and disbursement account. Debtors and disbursements account. And number three is what we call the client account. Client account. Now, when we talk of disbursement, is the amount that the firm pays for a client with insufficient what? Cash. So if he's not having enough cash, the firm can make the payment on behalf of the what? The client. So you just know this disbursement refers to the amount paid by the professional firms. Refers to the amount paid by the professional firms on behalf of clients with insufficient funds. Paid by the provisional firms on behalf of clients with insufficient funds. On behalf of their clients with insufficient funds. So we can have an example, do an example on the same. We see how they are required to prepare the financial statement. So can I have an example? August 2024, that is from the financial reporting paper. On August 2024, question number 5C. August 2024, question 5C. That is the financial reporting paper. August 2024, we do question 5C. August 2024, we do question number 5C. August 2024, question number 5C. Given that I'm hoping everyone is having the past paper, so you can check from the group. I've shared the past paper. So we've been given that the following trial balance was extracted from the books of Kakai and K. Abaze, a firm for practicing advocates, as of 31st July 2024. Given the cash at bank for the client account, we also have the office account, furnitures and fitting and library books. We have insurance expenses, disbursements on behalf of the clients, accounts repayable, work in progress. We also have the clients for money held on their behalf, the cost charged to the clients, communications expenses, reading and stationery, rent and rate, salaries, drawings, capital. Additional information, the uncompleted work on 31st July 2024 was valued at 25,000. Appreciation to be provided at 20% per annum on the book value of the furniture, fittings, and library. And then you are required the statement of profit or loss the year ended 31st July 2021. So we can begin with that. So this is Kakai and Kabaze. Kakai and Kabaze. They want the statement of profit or loss. Statement of. This is profit or loss for the year ended when? The year ended. This should be 31st. July 2024. 31st July 2024. We'll use shillings in thousands. We'll use shillings in thousands. So we're going to use the shillings in thousands. Going to use the shillings in thousands. Right? So we're going to use shillings in thousands here. So we normally will begin with the revenue and the fee income, which is generally the cost charged to what? Charge to clients. They charge how much? The cost charged to the clients, they charge 37 what? 500, right? What we add here is work in progress. Progress. This is the balance as at the end. Generally, the uncompleted work as at the year end, which is from additional information, number one is 35, 25. And then you less work in progress balance as at the beginning, the start of the year, raise balance brought down, which is on the trial balance. The work in progress on the trial balance as at the start was 55.20. Get the value here. That is generally the net fee income, which is of how much? Is of how much? The net fee income, which is how much? Yes, 505. Then from there we can now less the expenses. Expenses, I will begin with the one in the additional information, which is now an additional information number 2, depreciation. Depreciation was for the furnitures, fittings and library what? Fitting and library what? Library books. Now that is of how much? 20%. You multiply by the cost of the furniture, which was 67.50. How much is it giving you? That will be equivalent to how much? 13.50. Go to the trial balance. We also include all the other expenses. One is the insurance expenses. Insurance expenses are of how much? The insurance expenses here we have is 12.75. We also have the communication expenses. Communication expenses. Communication expenses are of how much? Communication expenses we've been given there 27.30. 27.30. We have printing and stationery. Printing and stationery. Printing and stationery is of how much? 52.50. Which other expense? We have the rent and rates. Rent and rates. The rent and rates we've been given there, it was of 9,000. Also, see we have the salaries. Salaries is of how much? 10,800. 10,800. So I don't think whether there is any other expense that I've not included. So get the total expenses. Get the total expenses. What is the total expenses? Is of how much? It's given you, yes? 30,405. You less from there and then you get the net profits. What was the net profit? Net profits 50, 5,100. That is on the income statement. Go to statement of financial position. You have the Kakai and here Baze. It's Kambaze. So statement of financial position. Statement of financial position. This is as at when? As at 31st July 2024. Also again here we'll have fillings in what? Thousands. So here we normally begin with the assets. Assets, we categorize them into two. Non-current assets and also what we call the current what? Current assets. So for our non-current assets here, we have furnitures, fittings and library books. Fittings and library books, which the cost was of how much? Cost of that, remember we have to account for them at net book value. So I'll have to take the cost, I less the accumulated depreciation of 1315. So how much is it giving you? It's giving you how much? Yes? 5,400. We don't have any other non-current liability, non-current assets. Go to what? Current assets. Now, current assets, we begin with the work in progress. That is as at the year end. What was the value of uncompleted work? On additional information, number one, it was 35 what? 25. So. We also had the disbursements on behalf of the clients. They are just like debtors, disbursement. This is on behalf of clients. You are awaiting to receive, which in this case it was of how much? Disbursements on behalf of the clients we were given. It was 13,500. The other one is on what we call the cash at bank. Cash at bank. Now, cash at bank we have for the money for the client. The money that now the firm is having in their bank account on behalf of the client of 37 what? 20. And also for the office, they have how much? Office here, they have 83 what? 55. Right? 83.55. We don't have anything else. I cannot see whether there is another receivable. Therefore, get the total assets. What is our total assets? What is our total assets? How much? 21? Yeah? 29? 100. We go to capital and liabilities. Yeah? So is 34? 34, 500. Capital and liabilities. Capital and liabilities. Here we begin with capital. Capital was of how much? Even from the balances there, it was 30 what? 3,600. You add the net profit. The net profit here was of 5,100. Then you can less the drawings. Drawings, they were of how much? From the balances there, it was 9 what? 9,000. So what was the net capital? Them. What is their net capital? Yes? 26,700. We don't have any non-current liability, so what we have is the current what? Liabilities. Current liabilities. Now, for the current liabilities here, we have the accounts payable. Accounts payable. What is the accounts payable here? Accounts payable we've been given as 40 what? 48. And then we have the clients for the money held on their behalf. Client for the money. Money held on their what? Held on their behalf. Now what we mean is just the same amount that is in their cash what? The cash book, which in this case is 30 what? 3720. So get the total capital and liabilities. Total capital and liabilities. What is the total capital and liabilities? The same. 34,500. By that you have the 9 what? 9 marks. Now is a question that is frequently asked. Now I want to do now in the case where you have to prepare what we call the what? The accounts. So the cash book, debtors and disbursements, and so forth. So we can do from June 2011, question number 2. We'll do this one of June. That is from the old past papers. June 2011, question number 2. We have a small break, then I come and do that. We can have a small break. For Muslim, you go pray, then we'll just come and do the particular question. So we do June 2011, question number 2. June 2011, question number 2. 2011, question number 2 is the question that we want to do. So this is what the question reads. I'm hoping everyone now is having the paper. You having the question? Moving that everyone is having the question, so we can do the question. Now, from June 2011, question number 2, Sabina and Ekima are partners in S.H. and Company advocates. The trial balance extracted from the books of accounts as of 31st December 2009 was as follows. We've been given the capital. We also have what we call the office equipment, fixtures and furniture, accounts payable. We have the client's account, we have the work in progress, we have the client disbursements, bank where we have the client office, and we also have the library books, accruals, loan from the bank. The following transactions were carried out by the S&H Company advocates during the year ended 31st December 2010. You've been given that they charge clients 14,700,000 for services rendered during the year. That is now the cost charged to the clients, which is our fee income. Received shillings 1850 on behalf of the clients. Received 11,400 from the clients in settlement of amount due for services rendered. Also being given that he used 1,500,000 to acquire a house from a client who had a credit balance of 800,000 with the firm. Received 300,000 from the client in settlement of their disbursements made on their behalf. Purchased library books worthy 366, paying cash and repaid 550,000 of the loan from the bank. Given that they incurred the following expenses which were paid for the year ended 31st December 2010, rent, we've been given salaries and also the office provisions. Incurred the following expenses which had not been paid for in the year end, given the legal fees, salaries and wages, and also the rent. Partners withdrew 1,750 from the bank, withdrew 450 from the client's account as a provisional fee, and acquired office premises for 6.5 and paid 3 million in cash. The balance was financed through a mortgage, which attracts interest rate at the rate of 12% per annum. Assume the office premises were acquired on 1st January 2010. Donated 2 million to charitable trust. The presented clients whose work in progress is at 31st December 2010 was valued at 1170,000. The work in progress had not been invoiced to the clients. The firm provides a depreciation on non-current assets based on the book value at the following rates. Given the non-current assets for office equipment, fixtures and furniture, library books, and we have the office what? Office premises. You are required to prepare in columnar format the client's account and the cash book. So we begin with the cash book here. This is A8 and advocates, company advocates, company advocates. So first we begin with the cash book. Remember, for the cash book we record both the bank and what? Cash transactions. For the office here, and we also need for the client. On the debit side for the office, this is for the client. Same case, you'll also have here for the office and also for the the client. Now, remember this is an account that you are maintaining for the client. Sawa sawa. But pesa inaingia kwa your account. Are we together? So in this case, I will have shillings in thousands, shillings in thousands, shillings in thousands, and then also shillings in thousands. And since here we're going to apply what we call the double entry system, I'm also going to have the account for the client here, the client account. And again, I will also need an account for what we call the debtors and what? Disbursement account. Generally, we're doing what we call the double entry what? The double entry bookkeeping is what I want we do here. So the debtors and disbursement account. Debtors and disbursement account. We can have those three accounts. So shillings all in thousands, shillings in thousands. So now client account is generally for any transaction relating to the client, any transaction relating to the client. So we begin with the balance brought down from the bank. What was the balance on the trial balance? For the bank, we were given that for the client is 571, 575. And then for the office, we were given as how much? 600 and what? 90. So this is not the firm's money, is the client's money. So this is also what we've been given there on the client account. If you look at the client account from the trial balance, is of 575. Is generally the money that clients for money held by the what? By the firm. Sawa. Then from there also the debtors, we have the balance for the debtors and disbursements. We are given the client disbursements as at the start it was 759. Are we together? Now we can get to the transactions. Number one, he charged 14,700 for the services rendered during the year. That is the fee income, which is increasing what you are expecting to do, to receive the debtors and receivable. So it is of how much? 14,700. Remember this one, you debit the receivable, you credit the fee income. Sawa. It's not going to affect the cash book because there is no cash that we've been told they have been able to do what? To receive. Is that okay? Someone is having a question or what? Someone can't find the question. Use the old past paper written May 2015. The one that I've shared in the group. Don't use the current paper. There is a paper written May 2015, Marwa. Use that one. You can use that one. We continue. The other one, we were told that he received 1850 on behalf of the what? Client. Sawa. Ikumaanisha pesa kwa client inafanya nini? Naongezeka. Client hapa amepata nini? 1850. So he is through the bank. He received how much? 1850. Ndio pesa imeongezeka. Si inafaa kuongezeka kwa account yake. That is a double entry that we are talking about. He received 11,400 from the client in settlement of the amount due for services what? Rendered. This is all for the debtors, or generally the disbursement. For the debtors is receiving how much? 11,400, right? Meaning that it is reducing the amount that we are expecting to receive from him, from the bank, of how much? 11,400. Is that okay? It is reducing the amount that we are expecting to receive from him. We continue. The one is he used 1.5 to acquire a house for a client with a credit balance of how much? 800. When we talk of credit balance, we mean uko na pesa ya huyo client 800. Sawa sawa. Not your money. Sawa sawa. Lakini anataka kununua house. Worth how much? The house here, it is worth 15 what? I mean 1500. Lakini pesa ya client ni ngapi? Si utamlipia hiyo ingine. Sasa that is what is giving rise to what we call the disbursement. Are we together? So the extra amount you're going to pay for him on his what? Because client akona 800. This extra 700 you're going to pay on the behalf of the what? The client. So this means huyu ukilipa hii ita reduce the amount of that client. Ni kweli. So the bank imefanya nini? Seme 800. This is for the house. I'm hoping that is clear because you have been able to reduce for that client how much? 800. Sini sawa. Lakini sasa this 700 you are also waiting to receive. Sawa sawa. Meaning that it will also increase our what? Disbursement. Sini sawa. So here I will come and say, let me just use the house, the bank, which is this case was for the house, which in this case it will be how much? 700. You are waiting to receive for that 700. Is that okay? We continue. The other one is he received 300 from the clients in settlement of the what? The disbursements. Sawa sawa. Now the disbursements have been paid, which in this case they are receiving the disbursements of 300. Disbursement. Here 3 what? 300. So hapa through the bank amelipa disbursement 3 what? 300. Hii ni pesa mpya amereceive. So it is not having any impact on the what? That client account. I'm hoping that is clear. We continue. He purchased library book for 366 na akalipa loan. Yes, hiyo ni ya ofisi. So hapa kuna library books. Zangapi? 366. Pia akalipa loan yake. Ngapi? The loan was of how much? 500 and what? 50. Sawa sawa. That is an expense for the office. It doesn't relate to. It does not relate to the client. Incur the following expenses which were paid by the year ended 31st December 20 and so amelipa nini? Ya kwanza tunaambiwa amelipa rent. Amelipa rent ya ngapi? For him amejilipia 600. Akalipa on behalf of the what? Client 120. Pesa ya client ina reduce. Ni ukweli. So hapa tukuje bank. That is the rent now of 120. He also paid off for salaries and wages. Salaries and wages. Salaries and wages is of how much? Paid 2450 for the office. 2450. Na akalipa 150 for what? The client. So clients again hapa. Salaries and what? Wages. Imereduce na ngapi? 150. Sawa sawa. Is that okay? Tuendelee. Office provision. That is only for the office. Office provisions. So office provision here is 410. There is no for client. So there is nothing that is going to affect the what? The client. Sawa. Tuendelee. The other thing, incur the following expenses which had not been paid for the year. These are what we call the accruals, and therefore there is nothing is having an impact on either the cash book or the client or the debtor's what? Disbursement. It will only have an impact on the what? The income statement and also the current what? Liabilities. Sawa. Then the other one, we've been told that partners with the dream, Kenya shillings 1750. Sawa. And this is from the what? The bank. So that is just a drawings. We may reduce the amount in their what? Their bank. Meaning that these drawings will reduce their capital towards of 17 what? So hiyo ni kumaanisha capital yao ita reduce na ngapi? 1750. Sawa. We continue. The other one is we withdrew 450 from the client account as a what? Provisional fee. Sawa. Hapa tutafanya we make 4 entries. Kwa pamoja. Ya kwanza ametoa hiyo pesa hapa, akaiweka kwake. Acha niite transfer. Let me call it out. Amefanya transfer. Withdraw gapi? 450. Hiyo transfer imekuja kwake 450. Kwa pamoja. What was the purpose of this money? Ni reduce the what? Sini ya kulipa deni. Ndio. The provisional fee of 450. So meaning that it will also reduce his what? Count fee 450. Iko sawa? Yes. Are we together up to that? So the other one, we're being told that he acquired office premises for 6.5 and paid 3 million in cash. Hapo yenye amelipa na cash, si pesa imetoka. Office premises. Imetoka pesa ngapi? 3 what? 3 million. Kwa pamoja. The remainder is what he acquired as a what? A mortgage. Then the other one, we've been told that assume that he donated how much to charitable trust. Donate gapi? Za what we call donations. Kumaanisha pesa imefanya nini? Imetoka. Ya ngapi? 2 million. Then from there, we've been given the work in progress, nothing more that is affecting this. So we can get the balances. What is the balance carried down for the bank? Hapa balance yake ni ngapi? Get the total on the debit side. The total on debit side. Niambie ni ngapi? Get the total on the debit side. Tell me how much is he giving you? This is 840. You balance. About niambie what is the balance carried down? 1014. This other one. What is the total for the client account? Total for the client account. Kwa ngapi? What is the total for the client account? Napata ngapi? Total for the client account. Nakupea pesa ngapi? This is how much? 20? 24.25. So 24.25 If you balance, what will be the balance in figure? Yes, 905. So this should be the same as the amount here on the client account. This will be 2425, 2425. So the balance carried down should also be 905. So the balance carried down should also be 905. Balance also for the debtors. You know, what is the amount that they are expecting to receive? What is the amount that they are expecting to receive? The total for the debtors here is how much? 16,159. 16,159. If you balance, how much is it giving you? What will be the balance carried down? What is the balance carried down? For that way, 4,009. So with that, now we can go to Roman number 2, income statement. So SH and Company advocates. Here we prepare the income statement for the year ended when? Income statement. This is for the year ended. The year ended should be year ended 31st December 2010. Shillings in thousands. And also have shillings in what? So we begin with the fee income. Fee income is what they charge for the whole year, which is 14 what? 700, right? From there you can add work in progress balances at the end. Balance carried down, which is on additional information number 13. It was 11 what? 1170. Less work in progress balances at the beginning, which you will check it from the trial balance. What is the amount from the trial balance? It was 14 what? 1483. So you can get the net fee income, meaning gapi. Net fee income. Net fee income, meaning gapi. $14,397. 387. We less the expenses. Expenses. Now, expenses is only from additional information number 7. And remember, this is for the office. Sawa. So, hakuna expense ya client tunafaa kuiweka hapo. Pamoja. So, in this case, we'll have number what? Number 7. We had rent. Rent that they paid for the office was 600. But there was what was accrued of 17 what? 20 from additional information number 8. Remember, under the accrual concept of accounting, you are required to recognize an expense when it is incurred. So since that these expenses have not been paid, we have also to recognize it. So this will be 23 what? 2320. We also have for the salaries and wages. Salaries and what? And wages. Salaries and wages was 2450. What had not been paid was of how much? 1650. Is giving you a total of how much? Salaries and wages. Total of how much? Yes? 4100. Go to office provisions. Office provision, they paid how much? The office provision, they only paid 400 and what? 10. Legal fees, which were incurred and not paid. Legal fees. They are of how much? Is it 3400? 3400. And then that is it. We go to number 11. On number 11, there was a mortgage interest of 12 what? % on the balance. The mortgage interest was of how much? 12% of that. Now remember, the total for the premises was 6.5 million. So 3 million was paid in cash. The remainder is what was to be paid, was they acquired what? A mortgage. So meaning that it will be paid on that balance, which in this case is how much? Yes? 400 and 420, right? And then you can also have what we call the what? Donations. Donations were of how much? Donations here, they were of how much? 2,000. Then we can now have the last one, the depreciations. Depreciations. So depreciation will begin for the office equipment. Office equipment. Now for the office equipment, we were told that it is 10%. So you just take 10% of the amount, which was 1840. This will be 184, right? We also have for the other one, which is the furnitures and fixtures. There is fixtures and furnitures. Fixtures and furnitures, which is of how much? It was also to be 15% of the amount. The amount is 805 from the trial balance. How much is it giving you? 120.75. We also have for the library books. Library. So for the library books, it was of how much? When you look at the balance, it was the 12.5%, but as at the beginning, the balance was of how much? Balance was 600 and what? 44. During the year, kuna yenye walinunua. They purchased a library book for the how much? 366. So what is the depreciation? 366. What is the depreciation? It's giving you how much? 120. 25. Last one is on office premises. For the office premises is of how much? Office premises is 2.5% of the total, which was 6.5%. 6,500. So inakupea ngapi? Of 6,500. Remember on number 11, they acquired an premise of how much? 6.5. So is how much? 162.5. Get the total expenses. Get the total expenses. So that once we left there, we get the net what? Net profits. It will be equals to how much? Yes, total expenses. That in, yeah, that in 243.5. If you less, what will be our net profit? Yes, 1143 point what? So statement of financial position says it's and company. Company advocates. Assets and company advocates. So here is the statement of what? Statement of financial position. Financial position. And this is as at when? That 31st December 2010. So we'll have shillings in what? Shillings in thousands or so. So we can begin with the assets. Assets, we know we categorize them into two. There is the non-current assets and current what? Current assets. So we begin with the non-current assets. Non-current assets, we begin with the office equipment. Office equipment ilikuwa ngapi? Remember we put them at the net book what? Value. So it will be 1840 you minus 184. You have to eliminate the depreciation. So how much is it giving you? System 56. We'll also have all the fixtures and furnitures. And furnitures, which was of how much? The fixtures and furnitures here, it was 805 I minus 120.75. 120.75. So it's giving you how much? 684.25. We also have the library books. Library books. Now for the library books here, we have the amount as at the beginning was 644 plus what they acquired. Then you have to minus the depreciation, which is 126.25. So it will give you how much? Yes? 0.75. Go to office premises. Office premises of how much? It was 6.5 million minus 162.5. Will give you how much? 63. Go to current assets. Work in progress. This is as at the end. I'm talking of balance carried out down, which was 11 what? 1170 from additional information number 13. Then also we have the disbursements, the client debtors and disbursements. Let me call it that. And the disbursements. For the debtors and disbursements, we have the balance here. It is 4,000 and what? 9 as at the year. Then we have the bank balances. The bank, which is from the both the client and what? And the office. For the client, this is what we have on the cash book. For the client is 905. This should be 10 what? 10, 14. 10, 14. Don't have anything else on that. And get the total. Get the total assets. Total assets, how much are you getting? System 659.5. Go to capital and liabilities. And liabilities. So for capital and liabilities, we begin with the capital. Capital was of how much? On the balance here, the capital is 4140, right? You add the net profit. What is our net profit here? Net profit is 1143 point what? 1143.5. And then you have to less the drawings. Drawings that were made for 17 what? So what is our net capital? Have to less the drawings. So that you get the net capital, which is of how much? Yes? 35, 33 point. We go to non-current liability. First, we have the mortgage. The mortgage that they acquired was of how much? Was it 3,500? The balance on the office premises, right? We have the loan from the bank. Loan from the bank. It was of how much? From the balance is there, it was 14 what? 50. But during the year they paid loan 500 and what? 550. So inakupea ngapi? Yes? 900. We go to current liabilities. Current liabilities. Current liabilities, I have the client account. Client account, the money held on behalf of the client, which was 905. We have accounts payable. Yes, we have accounts payable. Accounts payable is of how much? Accounts payable, which was 300 and what? 378, right? We also have all the accruals. Accruals as at the beginning there were 200 and what? 53. You add all other expenses that were not paid on additional information number 8. Wako wamelipa 3,400. They also didn't pay how much? 1650 plus 17 what? 20. What will be the total? What will be the total? Yes? 70-20. And then the mortgage interest payable. The interest was not paid. If it was paid, we could have been told in the what? In the trial balance. So the mortgage interest payable is of how much? Your interest umetafuta 420. So get the total capital and liabilities. Total capital and liabilities. Total capital and liabilities. 659 and what? 5. That is how we do in such questions. So any question on that? Drawings ndio hii tuliweka hapa. Yeah, I made a with the draw. So the drawings they reduce capital. They reduce capital. Therefore, we'll also have them there. So you will do the following as assignment to our own time. To our own time, you can try the following as assignments. You can try the following as assignments. August 2022, question 4B. August 2022, question 4B. August 2022, question 4B. August 2022, question 4B. November 2018. November 2018. Do question 5B. November 2018, question 5B. And then the last one, May 2015, question number 2C. May 2016, question 2C. May 2015, sorry, not 2016. 2C. May 2015, 2C. And that is all on that. The other is just on the medical practitioner, and that one, no, is not on your case here. You never be tested on the same. Just a matter of how to prepare the income statement. But I don't want to waste time on that. So I will now we meet in our next class. I will now introduce on critical topic we call the conversion of partnership into a limited company. So hivi ndo tutakuwa tunafanya kale kadogo sasa. We also measure on the what? Basic one. Because now you also need to start preparing yourself for the exam as at now. Sawa. Conversion of partnership to a limited company, this sitting lazima ikue. Sawa. It was in their last sitting. So it wasn't their last sitting, and I know this sitting has to be there. So that is what we do in our next class. Malize, we do something small, then again tuingie kwa hizo. the publics. Yeah, that is how we'll be doing as now from now. So continue from there as from our next